My name is John Coates. I was with Bechtel Corporation the whole length of the pipeline project. I have been involved in the pipeline industry with Bechtel all over the world, and I was to come up the first time in 1968 or 9, whenever they was putting Surf Coat Camp together to coat inside the pipe, but I didn't do it. I went to Sumatra. Then I came back to the States and started working in back to work in California. I knew Jim Miller real well, who was equipment manager for Bechtel, and he come up here to manage the pipeline project. And I was coming up here the end of '73 with them. They didn't have the contract as of yet, but we was looking at the equipment need, and they wanted to build a road in 150 some days, and the equipment that was on the job site wasn't near what they needed or near enough. So we started making a study of what there was, and then started purchasing additional equipment. We bought everything, all the scrapers that Caterpillar had, Euclid had, Terex had, and lots of them that Letourneau had that was available. Then we had to go out and we bought another 35 used scrapers scattered all over the United States, and started moving everything up here in January of '74. Total, it was pushing 5,000 pieces total of the pipeline. The road job wasn't near that big. We didn't have all the pipeline equipment in at that time. We just had, the first push project was just the road job. I become equipment superintendent on the whole length of the pipeline there. I did that from '74 till 1976, and then I became equipment manager on the pipeline. Then I became senior representative for Bechtel in '77 up here. If I remember right, it was the budget for the pipeline was about $2 billion. You know, wages went way the heck up, inflation took in, and then actually the VSM project hadn't been determined exactly how they was gonna come across the permafrost. And then that added a considerable bit onto the project. There was several different pieces of equipment that we run tests up here. We hired the local contractors, earth movers, contractor out at North Pole, George, I can't think of his name right now. Well, we hired them to do, in Lundgren Pacific, to do test runs on manipulate machines, one to wrap the installation around the pipeline. We run tests on all of the VSM drills, which was something that was a hurry up to put in. Specialized the bending machines for the pipeline. We didn't have 48-inch bending machines. We used 42-inch bending machines. And then I spent one whole year or one whole season reworking them with a crew to enlarge them enough to be able to press to bend 48-inch pipe. Bedding equipment for the red mark machine, and for bedding of the pipe, we had to have special equipment built for it, and special screening equipment because They had select material that you laid the pipe on to start out with. Then we got where we could screen the material and go to regular material. If I remember right, there was 36 million yards of material. There wasn't near enough equipment here that was brought up earlier to build a pipe, to build a haul road in 150, I think it's 156 days what it took to build it. And we had to add a tremendous amount of equipment. I think it was in the neighborhood of $30 million, and that was, 73 prices. Well, we brought equipment all the way out of Australia. Well, it was barged in, hydrotrained in, and brought on up here either to Anchorage, unloaded in, Fairbanks or Valdez, and then lots of it was shipped up, and the camps were shipped up to Prudhoe Bay. And we had 3 areas that they brought equipment and camps into. It was hard to do a job. And like I said, I'd worked for Bechtel off and on for quite a few years overseas on different pipelines. It was hard to do a job. We couldn't get enough 594s. We was gonna build we had some HD 41 Allis-Chandler tractors, and we were gonna build some side booms on those. And Caterpillar said they might not be enough 594s around if you start building these HD 41s. I got pictures of HD 41s that we built, hauling, carrying on the side boom, carrying a D9 side boom 594 around. We built 4 of those. I built them with a company out of, this was after the pipeline, with a company out of Canada, Art Hennesett Pipeline Company. Well, no, we could get the men. There's lots of training going on. We set up several different training programs. We could get the men. All of them wasn't truly qualified to do the job. Equipment-wise, you had a fairly good construction going on down in the lower 48, and it was just tight getting the equipment that we needed. And they almost put that during wartime in that we had the first choice equipment. They did not do that, but they talked a lot about doing that program. But we was able to, and we had to lease, rent equipment from contractors all over the United States, and even over into Australia. Let's put it this way here. We was trying to do this in a hurry, and our biggest challenge was trying to get it done. I ended up, before the pipeline was finished, I ended up invested into a company called PCI PSI up at Prudhoe Bay, and I built the Prudhoe Bay Hotel up there, and I had a construction company till I sold out to the native group up there, Notchick and Houston Contractors. I sold out in 1986 and then continued staying in Fairbanks. For about 10 years I had an operation. I had a 300-man camp, and I did all the road maintenance for Sohio Oil and their laydown yard, all their warehouse, and then I even did some gather line construction and put the VSMs down and building camps and warehouse. I have been in this construction business since I guess you'd go back with my dad in 1946 when we started leveling land in Bakersfield, California, and getting World War II equipment up. And I worked with him during that period of time. I was awful young, but I could still run a cat and still grease a tractor. Well, to me, it was something that it was a job that we had to get done. I'd worked on a big inch pipeline in coming through California. I worked on Saudi Arabia pipeline in Sumatra coming to Singapore. This was a lots more challenging project. It was a bigger project, a lots longer project. Most of those was, in the neighborhood of 400 or 500 miles. The Trans-Canadian, or the one coming across Saudi Arabia, that Beirut, Lebanon, that was 1,000 miles of pipe. But it was smaller pipe. And lots of it we just laid on the ground.
Right, the environment was probably different.
The environment was cool. See, the environment really just started in when we started this pipeline in. And we had a considerable bit of problems there that we had to overcome. Well, I had worked in Canada before and had been around some bad weather in Canada, up in the northern part, up at Fort McMurray area. I knew about the bad, like I said, I'd been in the bad weather before, the cold weather. But then lots of the men that we got, and especially the ones we took with Bechtel in to do the work, they didn't have the experience in the cold weather. It was something that was a learning chore for everybody. For everybody. In '76, the end of '76, we started braided it in to Fairbanks, the stuff that wasn't going to be reused, because we still had 6 months of construction in '77 to do. So we started braiding it in and started surplusing it off over in the pipe yard. We had a surplus yard over there, and they brought auctioneer companies in and they took it over, and Parks Davis and started to auction the equipment off here. Then we moved a bunch of the equipment to Washington State, and they ended up selling and auctioning it off there. We brought lots of equipment up on the sea lift 74, 73, 74, and 75 and 76. We brought, anytime we had equipment, we brought it in to Seattle and loaded it out there and brought it into either Fairbanks or into Valdez, or shipped it all the way to Prudhoe Bay. I don't see there's that much change in the pipeline equipment. I don't see that much change into it over the last 60, 70 years. When we came out with the newer side booms, we came out with them, but the hydraulic excavators came out. When we first started the pipeline out, you got to realize we didn't have that many hydraulic excavators. We used cable rigs at that time. the majority of the rigs that we used was LS-98 link belt pipeliners. We tried, they had an idea of using a rock saw on a big D9 that was reworked in with different engines to saw a ditch and then be able to go in and muck the center of it out. It was 10 inches, the rock saw would, if I remember right, 8 or 10 inches, it would cut and down to about 8 foot deep. And then they'd come in and try to muck it out. But the majority of the ditch that was buried was just drilled and shot with air drills and shot and mucked out with excavators. We had a meeting after Bechtel left out Frank Moulin. I went to work right directly for Frank Moulin. I was still Bechtel. I was just the equipment and transportation and procurement was still under Bechtel. And we, there toward the end, they was pushing real hard. Frank was really driving everybody to get this pipeline done by June of '77, in which he ended up getting it done that way. But I still had a project to do because I had to turn in all the equipment that we had because Bechtel had signed for it. We had to turn it all in to LES could get it all back in. And Frank, he was concentrating real heavy on up at Adigan Pass. That was the big push, Adigan Pass. Thompson Pass, we had already pretty much put it through. Thompson Pass was a tough job. That's the one down close to Valdez. And we had a meeting there to determine how I was going to lay the pipeline down there. Most of the time we just yo-yo side booms up and down, but it was awful steep grade. And as a young engineer came up with the ideal, his family had a logging company of swinging it in like they did trees, which we ended up putting this logging booms and stuff in to lay the pipe through Thompson Pass, which worked out real great. I know they don't have the trade schools like they did whenever I was growing up. The U.S., they need to put more trade schools together to train people in the construction industry. The construction industry right now is real short of people who are skilled, who wants to do the work, is skilled to do the work. The apprenticeship programs, I guess, from what I understand, is having a hard time of coming up with enough qualified people to get into the apprenticeship program to keep it going. It takes an individual that wants to work, wants to see something complete and interested, really interested in what you're doing. That would be my suggestion.